Hi there, welcome to Kneppy Invest, and welcome to a standalone video. Yes, I know. Technically, a standalone video should only be featuring one company. So why am I discussing, or will be discussing, three companies in this particular video? Well, you can thank Sensei It Is, who raised a really interesting question. And that question revolves around three companies I actually own. And that question, Kneppy, what is the backstory on Neuren Pharmaceuticals, Telix Pharmaceuticals, and Clarity Pharmaceuticals? All three of these companies have gone up 10 to 20 times in the last 3 to 4 years. Yes, Neuren, particularly Neuren and Telix, have been wonderfully successful for my portfolio. And I still hold all my original holdings in Telix, but I have taken profits in Neuren. Clarity Pharmaceuticals hasn't gone as well for me. It's only up just a little bit, nowhere near as well as Neuren and Telix. Now, the question Sensei asked is, what is the backstory on these three companies? But I thought, instead of going down that route, discussing the science around these three companies, the technology they have employed, I thought, you could just do that yourselves. You could go to their website, have a look at their presentations, and to be honest with you, you probably could get a better idea what these companies are doing than me just talking about it, because there's a chance I might mess it up. I thought, instead of going down that route, what I'll do instead is I'll discuss why or what triggered me to take a position in each of these three companies. I think that's more interesting, and it'll give you a better insight to how I invest. Now, there is a belief out there that you should only invest in your circle of competence. I don't follow that philosophy of investment at all, because if I did that, more than likely I would invest in any companies, because my circle of competence is quite limited. And I've done fantastically well in the past of investing well outside my circle of competence. And that is definitely true in regards to these three companies. So there are certain things I'm looking for when it comes to announcements, and you'll discover some of those things. So let's start this journey by first looking at Neuren Pharmaceuticals. In fact, I discovered this company back in 2011. Now, back in 2011, this company was a bit of I wouldn't say a market darling, but the share price did go up a fair bit between 2011 and maybe 2014 on the back of their potential. Now, they were in the treatment of rare diseases or rare conditions like Rett syndrome and Fragile X. By that point in time, they were only in phase 2 or phase 1 or 2 trials. So there's still a long runway of growth for that company. So I followed Neuren Pharmaceuticals quite closely during that time frame, but then it went off my radar 2014, 2015. Every single time the company did release an announcement, I did have a look at it, but I didn't really pay much attention to the company until December 7, 2021. Now, before December 7, 2021, the company had a market cap maybe 150 to $200 million, no revenue, they weren't selling anything, so it really wasn't on my radar all that much at that point in time. But on December 7, 2021, the company not only got back onto my radar, I actually took a position in the company on that date. So what is the trigger? What was the trigger? What caused me to take a position in Neuren Pharmaceuticals on December 7, 2021? So let's have a look at the announcement. In my opinion, this was a company making an announcement, the most important announcement the company has released. On the day, the share price did increase, I think it was 91%, almost 100%. And some experts will tell you, you're too late. You have to take a position in the company before that sort of announcement. It's absolute hogwash, and I'll show you the chart, and I'll show you why. Okay, so let's go back to December 7, 2021, and have a look at the announcement that did cause a lot of excitement in me, or for me. Oh, that's the wrong one. So December 7, 2021, just going or using market index for this. Oh, I went way back. Where is it? There it is. So let's open up this announcement. And just the title of the announcement did get me excited. Positive top-line results from phase 3 trial in Rett syndrome. So positive top-line results, phase 3 trial. Immediately that is going to draw my attention. So that drew me in to have a closer look at the announcement. Now, the first highlight point is fairly important. Trophantide, which is their drug, it's now known as something else called Daybue, being sold by Acadia. This particular drug met co-primary efficacy endpoints demonstrating statistically significant improvement over placebo in the Rett syndrome behavior questionnaire. So this was quite important. This is a phase 3 trial as well. But those things in the highlight section didn't really trigger me to take a position in Neuren. What triggered me is found towards the end of this particular announcement. Here it is. This is what triggered me, this little section right here. Now, don't forget, this company, with the share price increasing 100%, might have had a market cap of maybe 300 million at this point in time when I took a position at $3.20. Neuren would earn revenue over 2022 and 2023. I should also mention, if I've forgotten, that Neuren and Acadia did a deal in regards to Acadia was going to pay Neuren Pharmaceuticals a lot of money. And when I say a lot of money, I mean a lot of money if they continue to be successful with rolling out, or maybe not rolling out, but were successful with the phase or the trials of Daybue or trofinetide, and if they got FDA approval. Neuren was going to see a lot of money, and here's some of the money they were going to receive. So Neuren would earn revenue over 2022 and 2023 for Rett syndrome in the US alone of 111 million Australian dollars, plus double-digit percentage royalties on net sales if a new drug application is approved by the FDA. They did receive FDA approval, and trofinetide is launched in the US. It's been launched. It was launched a few years ago. This was on back of a few assumptions in regards to exchange rate, and that Neuren Pharmaceuticals was going to receive $33 million US dollars as its share of the market value of a rare pediatric disease priority review voucher. So these rare diseases, companies do need a bit of an incentive to do research on them. And that's the sort of incentive this company was going to receive. I just saw that and I went, well, wait, I'm going to do a little bit more research on this deal between Neuren and Acadia. And at that point in time, with a market cap of 300 million, I went, gee, if this is successful, Neuren is going to have a lot of money in a few years and more than likely will be profitable and will bring in a lot of cash flow. And I thought, if you just looked at the risk and reward, there was a lot of potential reward with minimal risk. That is why, even though the share price rallied 100% on the day, I took a position in Neuren Pharmaceuticals. Now let's have a look at the chart. That's it. Nothing else. I didn't know much about the science, didn't know much about the technology. It was irrelevant to me. I just knew that if the company remained on their path of achieving the success I thought they could have achieved, and even if they didn't, it was a low-risk bet. And that's exactly what they did. They were successful. So let's have a little chart for Neuren. So this is where I took a position, 320. Now, funny enough, if you have a look at the weekly chart before this successful phase 3 top line, from 2013 through to 2021, share price did nothing. There was a nice little phase in between 2011 and 2013, when the share price did a fair bit. Share price actually increased quite a bit during that period. But from 2013 through to 2021, share price did nothing. It was range bounded between about $1 and $3.50. And then on this particular day, the share price didn't quite break out. It got to 320. So breakout would have been about 350. But I thought this was company making news, and the share price just kept on going up. Now, there was a period just after I bought where the share price did nothing for about 7 months. Yes, 7 months. Share price went sideways for 7 months, and then the share price took off. I took some profits just before they did receive FDA approval, just to de-risk, because there was a possibility they were not going to receive FDA approval, but it was just simply to de-risk. Now, in saying all that, if I was trading Neuren, I'd probably be out, because the chart now looks pretty ugly. Share price is in a bit of a funk. But in saying all that, this company currently has, last time I looked at the half-year report, this company has about $220 million in cash equivalents, and short-term investments. And that's through the deal with Acadia. And if they further develop some of their other pipeline drugs, or drugs in their pipeline, or treatments in their pipeline, this company could have, instead of being reliant just on Daybue, trofinetide, on Rett syndrome, they could be more diversified. So that's one of the reasons why more than likely I won't sell out of my position in Neuren. But if I do see the share price trying to move back into an uptrend, I might add to my position, just trade it around the edges. Okay, so that's Neuren Pharmaceuticals. That is why I took a position in that particular company. And to be honest with you, if you ask me, put a gun to my head and ask me what this company does, I'd give you a very rough description of what they do, but I don't know much about the science and all that stuff. And again, it's well outside my circle of competence, but I still made a lot of money in this company because of a simple announcement that I understood was company making. And to be honest with you, it took the rest of the market about 2 years to understand Neuren Pharmaceuticals. For instance, on Ausbiz's call, there was no mention of this company for about 2 years. And then all of a sudden, a few questions started popping up. So sometimes you can get in well before the rest of the market. And that was definitely true with Neuren. Okay, now on to Telix. I knew nothing about Telix before I took a position in this company. And a little bit of a different path than Neuren Pharmaceuticals. So let's have a look at Telix Pharmaceuticals. And we'll do the same thing. We're going to focus on the announcement that got me really excited. And this is an announcement that got me really excited. And it's an Appendix 4C. I have heard a few people respond to me saying, I don't get much out of Appendix 4Cs. Nothing much to like. And this is a case, and this is sort of proof on why I do pay attention to Appendix 4Cs. So Telix Pharmaceuticals, by the way, has a markup of $7.1 billion. Yes, $7.1 billion. And just look at that chart. This is the chart of the last year. Beautiful chart. Anyway, we'll have a look at the chart later on. Now, this particular announcement was released in October 2022. It was October 20, 2022. So let's go back. October. Oh, this company has a lot of announcements, by the way. October 2022. Now, here it is. No, it's got to go back one more. October 20, 2022. Appendix 4C and a Tears report. So I probably saw this pop up on October the 20th. So 2 years ago, almost, to the day. And I went, oh, don't know anything about this company, Telix Pharmaceuticals. This is probably what I did. Opened it up and went, I should have a look at this. Telix Pharmaceuticals, whatever. And then whenever I open up an Appendix 4C, I don't look at any commentary. I go straight to the cash flow statement. And as soon as I saw this, I went, oh, wait. Something's whoa. Okay, the reason I got really excited about this, hopefully it's quite obvious. Whoops. Okay, here it is. So this is for 1 quarter. Company received receipts of $44.5 million in 1 quarter. Not sure why that's not in. There it is. No, I keep hitting the wrong button. Company received $44.5 million of receipts in 1 quarter. But that's not what got me excited. Look at the next column across. Year to date, receipts are $51.9 million. So in the first 2 quarters of this particular financial year, they received $7 million. And all of a sudden, it's up to $44 million in a quarter. If the company increased their receipts from a few million to $44 million in 1 quarter, I went, okay, is that a one-off? And then I saw all the spending. I went, this company's spending a lot of money. Now look at the markup, a pretty high markup. And then I realized this is not a one-off. They started to sell one of their products called Illuccix. Now, this company, again, I knew nothing about Telix before this particular announcement. I took a position in this company without knowing anything about the company. Now, Telix Pharmaceuticals and Clarity are related. They are both radiopharmaceutical companies. And what they're dealing with are more cancer imaging at this point in time, particularly prostate cancer for Telix. And I'm going to discuss why I took a position in Clarity, and it is related to Telix. Now, I'm not going to talk about the science behind what they're doing, but all I say is what they're doing is they're targeting the cancer themselves. So the treatment is focusing on the cancer, and because it's imaging, the cancer will pop up like a bulb light in the imaging products, but there's also the possibility that they'll be able to treat in the future. In fact, if you do look at Clarity Pharmaceuticals presentation, they do talk about themselves as a theranostic company. So therapy, imaging and therapy. Telix is not quite there just yet, but there is that potential. But I'll talk about Clarity in a second. But all it triggered me to take a position, Telix Pharmaceuticals, was a significant increase in receipts from 1 quarter to the next. And I went, Even though the company is not operating cash flow positive just yet, they're going to achieve that with ease. And let's have a look. In fact, I do actually have it up here. Let's have a look at the revenue increase of this company on a half-year basis over the last few years. So a few years ago, in fact, less than 3 years ago, this company had a revenue of $2 million. Then it went from 2.9, 4.7, 24.1, 136.1, 222, 220.8, 281.7, in the last half year, $364 million of revenue in one half year. One half year, when in this particular quarter, they received receipts of 44.5 million. Now, receipts and revenue are not the same, but they're a nice little proxy. And the company is now profitable, generating cash flow. They've increased their spending as well because they're able to do that because of a significant increase in revenue. So one of the things I always look for is revenue increasing. How is the revenue or receipts increasing through time? And this, without doubt, in my opinion, where is it? This is one of the most impressive increases in revenue I've seen on the ASX in my lifetime. I have not seen a company, well, apart from mining companies, they've gone from no production to production. But other than mining companies, this is by far the most impressive increase in revenues I have ever seen. That is one of the reasons why this company has a market cap of $7 billion right now. Now let's have a look at the chart for Telix. Now, when they did release this particular Appendix 4C, we didn't see a big pop-up in share price, unlike Neuren. So I will not say this was a company making an announcement for Telix, but it opened up my eyes. And to be honest with you, share price has increased significantly since then. So this was 2 years ago. So let's go back 2 years ago, Telix. So there's me buying some shares at 666. Now, at this point in time, the share price wasn't in any sort of trend. You can see a fair bit of volatility in Telix. There was a nice trend from the middle of 2020 through to late 2021. Share price did increase from about $1.50 to $8.50. So there's a nice increase during that period. And you might have been thinking, well, I'm too late now. And the share price just went sideways after that for a while. A bit of volatility in there. Then I saw this announcement. I went, ooh, this is Appendix 4C. I'm going to take a position. I did not take a position on that day. I just waited the next day and bought at 666. That was not on purpose. And since then, I have not even thought about selling shares. Not even thought about taking profits just yet with Telix. In fact, the chart is a brilliant looking chart. In fact, yesterday, the share price got to a new all-time high. I do have a sell point, by the way, at about 1650, but I don't think the share price will get to that point. Now, when I say sell point, maybe sell half, but that's about it. And yeah, a beautiful looking chart. A beautiful increase in revenue, exactly what I'm looking for. So I got the trigger that financial statements or really good financial news, share price in a beautiful uptrend, valuation $7 billion. Now, when I bought, the valuation looked really stretched, but it's gone up threefold since then. Now on to Clarity. This is a little bit different because Clarity hasn't really released anything to trigger me to take a position. So I took a position in Telix, not knowing exactly what they did. I did a little bit of research on the company, which sometimes I'm prone to do. I take a position and actually then do some research. So I did a bit of research in Telix, and then I discovered that Clarity Pharmaceuticals could be perceived as a competitor or as a threat to Telix. Now, the radioactive diagnostic agent that Telix uses in their imaging technology is gallium. I think it's gallium-68. So what I'm going to now show you is Clarity Pharmaceuticals, a recent announcement or presentation from the company. So I think it's, we'll open up this one from the 18th of September. Now, if you want more information on Clarity, have a look at this particular presentation. They go through what they do. For instance, developing the next generation of radiopharmaceuticals to improve treatment outcomes for children and adults with cancer. So they even say right here, global leader in targeted copper theranostics TCTs. And one of the things they are focusing on is prostate cancer. Exactly what Telix is doing, but they're using a different element. That's the most important thing. And it's the copper. Yeah, it's copper. And here it is. Why copper? This is probably the one. This is probably like not here, but a few years maybe a year and a half ago, I saw a similar slide in one of Clarity's presentations, and I went, oh, because they actually mentioned gallium-68, which is what Telix uses. They use copper-64. I'm pretty sure this is imaging, and therapeutic is copper-67. So they go through why copper is better than gallium. Now, this is Clarity Pharmaceuticals' point of view. Copper is better than gallium. So there is a potential that Clarity is going to disrupt Telix Pharmaceuticals. I'm just saying a possibility. The problem with Clarity is if you have a look, that's a simple reason I took a position. It's just a hedge against my position in Telix, because there's also a possibility that both companies become significantly bigger in the future. That instead of being competitors, they sort of drive each other to become better and better in the future. Anyway, the only problem I do have with Clarity is they are nowhere near further along or far along as Telix. Telix is producing abundance of cash flow, abundance of profit. Clarity isn't at that point just yet. Now, Clarity has a market cap of 2.3 billion, so significantly lower than Telix. So there is still a lot of runway to go for Clarity if they're successful with what they're doing. So that's the one negative about Clarity is no revenue, no receipts just yet. They are burning through a lot of cash. Anyway, there's a simple reason I took a position in Clarity. No other reason, no other catalyst, no announcements or anything like that. It was just, I was just some slides in their presentation. I went, oh, this could be a bit of a threat to Telix, and I don't want to sell my Telix, so I'm just going to hedge my bets and take a position in Clarity as well. And I took that position in Clarity. I waited way too long, by the way. I really started to think about taking a position in Clarity towards the end of last year into this year. Share price at that point was around about $1.50 to $2. And I just waited and waited and waited, and the share price kept on increasing. I just went $6.11, I'll just take a position in this company. Now, I don't have as high a conviction in Clarity as the other two companies because they're way behind in terms of what's a good word? What's a good way to put it? They still have a lot more to prove than the other two companies. So my conviction in Clarity is much lower, and I'd be more willing to sell my position in Clarity if I see a really bad technical signal. And for me, a bad technical signal with the share price falling below $6.50. Now, if the share price can get above $6.50, and if I sell, then I will re-enter that position. So I am or could see myself selling out of my position in Clarity if I do get a bad technical signal. So I'm more trading Clarity than I am trading Telix and Neuren. In fact, Neuren, I don't care about the chart right now. Even Telix, I let's care about the chart, but I do have a sell point for that one. Neuren, I don't have any sell price. I'm just going to ride Neuren as long as possible. Anyway, so hopefully I've given you some insight to how I think, what I look for, triggers, announcement triggers, that sort of thing, because in my opinion, announcements are the most important thing I always look at announcements. And sometimes when a company does release a really important announcement, it can take a while for the rest of the market to take notice and for the story to play out, which is what happened with Neuren back in 2021 into 2022. Anyway, so if you have any further questions, any more insight, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Leave those in the comment section of this video. Otherwise, I'm not a financial advisor. If you do need financial advice, make sure you seek out a financial advisor who can, speak to your own specific needs. That sort of thing. Have a good day. Talk to you later. Bye.